It is now time for the OVC Basketball Media Day show on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU. We will be live from Media Day in Evansville, Indiana, as well as in the Hitmix studios. Now let's go to Evansville, Indiana with the host of the show, Mike Brad.
Good afternoon and welcome to Evansville, Indiana for the EIU Basketball Preseason Tip-Off Show. I'm Mike Brad, broadcasting live from the Doubletree Hotel in downtown Evansville. 4.5 months from now, right next door at the Ford Center in Evansville, the Ohio Valley Conference basketball season will wrap up with the OVC postseason tournament. So today, we're here for the OVC Media Day, and conference coaches, both men's and women's coaches, and some of the top players have gathered to meet with the media as a preview of the 2019-2020 season. We're going to be on for the next hour. We'll have interviews with Eastern Illinois coaches, the men's coach Jay Spoonhour, women's coach Matt Bollant, also with some EIU players. Rob Calhoun will be interviewing Taylor Steele, Carly Pace from the EIU women's team. We'll also be talking with Josiah Wallace and Max Smith from the Panther men's team. And back in the studio in Charleston, Rob Calhoun is there along with Dillan Schorfheide and Kobe Brannan to also participate in our show today. So a lot coming up in the next hour. We're going to start with the men's team. We're going to send it back to Rob and Dylan and Kobe and have them bring us up to date on the preseason poll in the men's race and also the preseason all-conference team. In both cases, those came out this morning. So, Rob, take it away there.
Thanks, Mike, and glad to be with you here on this show today. And, gentlemen, why don't we go over the order of finish predicted for the OVC men?
Yeah, in first place in the predicted poll is Belmont. Second place would be Murray State. Third place, Jacksonville State was picked to finish third. And then fourth place, Austin Peay.
Then fifth place is UT Martin. Sixth is Eastern Kentucky. 7 is our very own Eastern Illinois Panthers. Number 8, Morehead State. Tennessee State comes in at 9. SIUE comes in at number 10. Number 11 is Southeast Missouri. And then number 12 being Tennessee Tech.
And, you know, you kind of look at these standings, they kind of really reflect the standings from last year, except for Eastern Illinois and Morehead State picked to finish a couple of steps lower than what they finished in the OVC last year.
Yeah, Rob, whenever I was reading the top four, I was like, well, this seems familiar because it was last year. That was last year's top four. And, yeah, UT Martin, if anything, for me stands out, jumping up to the fifth spot over Eastern and Morehead State, who finished better in the regular season than UT Martin last year.
Congratulations to Eastern Illinois' Josiah Wallace. He was named to the All-OVC men's basketball team for the preseason. Joining Wallace on that team, Jamaru Brown from Eastern Kentucky, Tevin Brown from Murray State, Junior Clay from Tennessee Tech, Darnell Cowart from Murray State, Quentin Dove from UT Martin, Grayson Murphy from Belmont, Nick Musinski from Belmont. From UT Martin, it's Craig Randall II, Austin Peay, Terry Taylor, on that team, and also Morehead State's Jordan Walker. There are a lot of players that scored a lot of points last year on this team.
Yeah, definitely Josiah Wallace being a key player for Eastern Illinois. Last year, he averaged 15 points per game with 2.9 assists and 3.9 rebounds. And then you also want to talk about Terry Taylor, who's preseason OVC Player of the Year. He averaged 20 points a game last year, 8.9 rebounds, almost averaging a double-double.
Yeah, and Terry Taylor was my own pick for preseason OVC Player of the Year. When you look at the numbers, like Kobe said, 20.5 points per game, basically 9 rebounds a game. He can post you up inside, bully you around. He can also step out, make a mid-range jumper if he needs to. So he's just an all-around great player.
And, you know, there are a lot of great players in the OVC, and the OVC actually had 2 players last year get drafted in the first round of the NBA draft.
Yeah, with that being John Morant, who's going to have a big role, you know, with the Memphis Grizzlies this year, and then Dylan Windler, who got drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, too.
And in case you didn't hear us say that Terry Taylor was named the preseason OVC Player of the Year, it should be interesting to see how the conference season matches up. You know, Belmont got 17 first-place votes. Murray State was 7. Those two are the class of the OVC. It'll be interesting to see how Murray State is without John Morant.
Yeah, Tevin Brown and Darnell Cowart were both good players last year. I think Tevin Brown, the thing with him is if he's going to be, you know, the next guy to step up for Murray State, he's got to maybe get more arsenal in his attack, let's say, some options for his attack, because he's more of a three-point shooter, doesn't really go inside like John Morant did last year or Shaq Buchanan did for Murray State as well. So I think Tevin Brown will, grow as a player and get some more inside presence to his game.
So once again, Belmont predicted to finish first in the OVC, Eastern Illinois at 7th. OVC Player of the Year predicted to be Terry Taylor. Josiah Wallace on that OVC men's basketball preseason team. As we continue with our live broadcast here with OVC Basketball and letting you know what's going to be going on, we're going to send it back to Evansville, Indiana, where Mike Brad will have an interview with Eastern Illinois men's basketball coach Jay Spoonhour.
All right, Rob, thanks a lot. We have Jay Spoonhour with us. And, Jay, you're picked 7th in the preseason poll. Well, I guess one spot below where you finished last year. I don't know that you get that excited about it one way or another, but what'd you think of that?
I think when the top 4 teams have probably, I know when we do these votes, because I think this is a combination of our votes and the SIDs.
Coaches and SIDs.
Yeah, and I think that when I'll sit and do it, somebody's going to have to do something to prove to me that they deserve above Belmont and Murray. So when I'm voting, I put them up there. Austin Peay they finished in the top 4, and Jacksonville State. I think over the last couple of years, both of those teams have proven they belong in there. Everything from 5 on down, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. And the thing is that every one of us that are in those spots, all feel like we're better. And I think where it's warranted. I think we all, if you've just watching our team play and practice every day, we're a better team. I mean, what that equates to, I don't know, but you think of it this way: the issue we had was we scored enough points. The issue we had was as it got late in the year, teams figured out that they could drive us, and they could get it to the paint, and then we were in scramble mode, and that hurt our rebounding, 3-point percentage, defense. Everything went bad, and we had a hard time stopping people. Well, you can't go out in conference games and need to score 80 points in order to win, or you're just not going to win very many. And so what we did is with every guy that we recruited was a guy who was a defensive player. Every one of them, at our practices, the 5 probably fastest and most athletic guys are all the guys that have come in. They're going to have their issues, just the same way that any new player has, but they're all athletic enough that we're going to be able to defend. And so if you've got a bunch of returners, which we do, and you've got you got Josiah's come back as an all-conference guy. Mac has been an all-conference guy. And you feel like you have that many guys returning, and I still feel like every newcomer is going to play, and they're going to play significant time. You got to feel like you're pretty good. I think UT Martin probably feels the same way. They've got a couple great new young players. Morehead State, same thing. So it's one of those deals where you would think that the league might take a step back because logically, you lose 2 first-rounders, you're like, hey, the league is going to be down. I don't think it's necessarily going to be.
Let's talk about your team. You've got 5 players back who started at least 19 games a year ago, and they really kind of would slot in as a starting lineup. If you had to play them, they play 5 different positions, so that's a great nucleus. Let's talk about your newcomers, okay? There's 4 of them that figure in right now, and
right.
You think all of those are going to play? They're all juniors.
Yeah, I think at this point right now, George, you think about things that we needed to have. We probably didn't rebound well enough, get enough easy baskets with putbacks and things like that. George Dixon was the leading rebounder in the country at Vincennes, offensive rebounder. It's what he's good at. It's what he does. And he can also guard a guy who's out on the floor, and he's a little bit undersized to guard just flat, straight inside guys, but he can do it. I mean, he works at it, and he's a good defender. So a guy like that always finds his way onto the floor. Jordan Skipper Brown is as athletic a guy as we've had. He's the most athletic guy we've had since I've been here, in terms of explosion and just strength. He's not overly tall. He's probably 6'6" or so, but he is a guy that can defend around the post, and he was in the top 10 in the country in field goal percentage off made baskets. So because for the most part, he's scoring around the rim. He's dunking it. And so a guy like that is going to figure his way onto the floor. He's just different than anybody we have. And this is, and so what I'm explaining is this is really good recruiting by our staff. I mean, they did a great job, figuring out what you need, because everybody always knows what you need, but it's sometimes hard to go get it. They did a really good job getting guys that really fit. So Dang is a guy that played with Sharif in junior college, and again, is just a fast guy, can really defend the ball. He's a solid player, takes care of it, makes open shots, but he's a good defender. And then Marvin Johnson might be of all of the guys, is probably the most explosive guy in terms of offense and being able to make plays. But he's also a guy who's engaged defensively, and so he's 6'6" and kind of a guard, wing. Maybe he's not 6'6", 6'5" or 4, but he's longer, and so all of those guys, it's always going to be hard to beat out a guy like Max Smith or Josiah Wallace or Roddy but shoot, everybody better play, or there's capable people right there.
You must feel good about, you got Josiah, first team all-conference preseason. Max Smith is an all-conference quality player, has been on the all-newcomer team in the past. That's a great nucleus to start with right there.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing, you think about last year, Josiah and Roddy, all those guys pretty seamlessly stepped in and were pretty comfortable right away. There's always mistakes, always things that the speed of the game or the strength of guys or whatever, and you try to do things that don't work. But they were pretty smart about the way the season started, and that's why we were at one point 13-8 or 9. What I talked about earlier was the issue was that we're still trying to guard, but the other team figured out that, hey, all you got to do is spread these guys out and drive them, and then they're going to have to close out. It's hard to mask that. Like, that's a tough thing to try to defend against. That isn't going to be able to happen this year. They're not going to be able to do that. They'll maybe try to figure something else out. These guys are kind of smart, but it'll be. I think we have just a more solid group, and so, what Josiah will run into is that he had a little bit of time where people weren't exactly sure what he was. They didn't know. Everybody knew what Mac was because they had seen him, and so Mac was on everybody's scouting report, and I thought he handled it great because it's the sophomore jinx portion of your life. If you have a good year, the next year it's going to be harder because people know about you. You're an unknown quantity for a while. That's going to happen to Josiah. And so there's issues that he's going to have that he doesn't even that you can try to anticipate it, but it's just going to be hard. Because from day one, they all know about him. I mean, we came in here and every coach is like, "Hey, Josiah," and they all start talking to him, which is a nice thing today. It becomes a less nice thing when you play against them, because that's exactly what they're telling their team, and they're going to say, if this guy goes in the lane, you got to knock him down. I mean, you're going to have all that, and so how do you deal with that? He's going to have to figure that out. On my end, I scream at him more, make things hard. If he makes a good play, I tell him it was bad. Anything that he thinks is good, I say it's not good, because it's just going to be a harder year, and that's just the way it is. And so I thought Mac handled that really well last year, and I think Josiah will be fine because he's a smart guy. The thing where it gets guys is where they really are concerned about their numbers. And if somebody averaged 15 points, then they come back there next year and they think, well, just the natural progression of life, I should average 19 points. That isn't the way it goes. Mm-hmm. And so which Josiah is not this way, but if that's how they value themselves, here's the great thing that Joe will be able to do is that let's say that every time he has a ball screen now, it's like, hey, don't let him dribble off of it. You got to go double him. Well, if he couldn't pass, that would be a problem. But he can handle the ball and he can find open guys, and now he'll have to be more of a passer, and that'll help our team.
Talking with Eastern basketball coach Jay Spoonhour live from OVC Media Day in Evansville. Your team has got no freshmen, no sophomores on the team. You're all juniors and seniors. I think you're the most from that standpoint, the most experienced team in the country. I'm not making that up.
Amazing how that goes from one year we had nobody.
Talk about why that is.
Well, the part of it is when you have – here's something that I guess – and this would be terribly boring radio.
It's inside baseball. It's right?
Inside baseball. But the biggest thing going on in college athletics, and I – it's every coach in the athletic department deals with this, but the thing that's called APR – and it is basically it's a metric that tracks your graduation rate and your retention of players. So if players transfer, which now there's more transferring happening in college basketball and college sports than at any other time, and there's lots of reasons for that, but it's happening. So if a player comes in, let's say you're a quarterback, really see it in football because you have set positions in football. And if you come in and you're a really good quarterback and they also have another really good quarterback, which guess what? These coaches recruit more than one good guy per position. You say, "Oh, I'm not going to play." Well, I'll just transfer. We can debate whether or not that's necessarily a good thing. Yes, you have a short career, and you should, you want to have a chance to play. There's also something to everybody in life has a roadblock thrown in front of them. And if you're constantly looking for greener pastures, that's not good for your character. It's just not. You need to overcome some things. Well, with the transferring the way it is, if someone were to transfer to another school, if they don't have a certain grade point average, then you lose points. And what that ultimately does is it costs your team, it's a percentage. But ultimately, it's tied to money. It's tied to NCAA funding. So it's very important that all of us recruit players that have good grades and don't want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Want to finish where you're at.
Hard to predict that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. If you get freshmen, the thing that kills you is that if a guy transfers to a 4-year school, and if he has if he has a 2.6 is what the number is. If he has a 2.6, then it doesn't cost you. If he has below a 2.6, it does. If a player leaves your place and goes to a junior college, it doesn't matter if he is a 3.2 like Cam Burrell. You lose a point.
Right.
And that hurts your institution overall. And so it becomes it's a bad idea because it hurts high school recruiting. It makes it less likely that some high school guys are going to get recruited. And now there's so many guys in the portal that it's costing some guys scholarships because you recruit off of a guy who's been at an NCAA place. Mm-hmm. I've got 25 game films I can watch of a guy at a Division I level, and everybody is doing the same thing. It's one of those things. It's the unintended consequences of some of these rules, and nothing's perfect, but that's why it is the way it is.
Okay, a week from tomorrow night, you've got a exhibition game, Missouri-St. Louis. So people that come out next Wednesday night will see just pretty much a regular game, although probably more subbing than you might in a regular game.
Yeah, at this point we don't. It's not like we have just a rash of injuries, but we've really only got Dang got knocked upside the head, and so with concussion protocol now, he is right on the edge of being able to play. So we'll probably we've only had 10 guys the other day when we went to Bradley, so it'll be around that way, but I haven't talked to Rich yet about exactly how it'll be, but it'll be Halloween. It's the night before Halloween, so you will get to come with your costume. There'll probably be some sort of contest. We will give out candy.
Life's
there
good.
There will be a ball game. So you get to use your costume for more than one night. So you don't get it. It's the biggest ripoff in the holiday season is wearing your costume one time. You go to the thing, you spend $45, and you wear it once. Mm-hmm. I mean, what a joke.
Yeah.
Not in Charleston, Illinois, you get to wear it twice, and you get candy twice. Just when you start complaining about where your lot in life is when you're in Coles County, it's pretty good on
Double Halloween.
That's right.
All right. I was struck coming down here today that the first time I ever went to a media day, the highlight of the day was a coach getting up and a 10-minute comedy routine and then talking about how bad his team was going to be, which was even funnier than the comedy routine. But that was your dad, and that if I'm doing this in the future and Charlie or Sam, your boys, are coaching, that will be my signal that I need to be done.
It's maybe time to step away. When everyone tells you they think you've lost a step and you're looking at, and my kids are adults.
Third generation.
Maybe, but I kind of doubt. I mean, you're so smooth. It's unbelievable.
I didn't do it for that.
Yes, you did. We talked about this beforehand, that he said, hey, I'm going to give you an opportunity to compliment me, and I want you to just go with it. And so my mom always says this.
Your mom does.
My mom always says it's so – I get such a clear picture of listening to Mike. Now, my mom is a very positive person.
She is.
She thinks everything I do is great, too.
You're right.
We both know that that's not true.
All right. Hey, thanks for being here.
Yes,
and good luck. We'll have a good time all season long. Okay?
Yes, sure.
Starting next week. That's EIU basketball coach Jay Spoonhour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Rob and Dylan and Kobe will run down the preseason poll on the women's side, all-conference team, and then we'll be back here to talk to Panther women's coach Matt Bollant in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Rob Calhoun, along with Dillan Schorfheide and Kobe Brannan, back in the WEIU studios. And let's take a look at the predicted order of finish for Eastern Illinois and the OVC in women's basketball.
Yeah, for women's basketball, Belmont was picked to finish first. UT Martin was picked to finish in second place. And third place in the poll is Tennessee Tech. Austin P was picked to finish fourth, just like the men's team was. Jacksonville State in fifth place in the women's poll. In sixth place, Southeast Missouri was picked to finish there.
Then in coming in at 7 is Morehead State. Number 8, Murray State. Number 9, SIUE. Then Eastern comes in at number 10. Number 11, Tennessee State. And number 12, Eastern Kentucky.
Taking a look at the OVC All-Conference preseason team and the preseason OVC Player of the Year, Ellie Harmeyer from Belmont. Also on the team, Jordan Brock from Tennessee Tech, Ariel Gonzalez-Varner from Austin P, Mara Munsterman from Belmont, Carly Pace from Eastern Illinois, Chelsea Perry from UD Martin, Tessia Thompson, Southeast Missouri, Macy Turley from Murray State, Maddie Waldrop from UT Martin, and Maddie Wright from Belmont. And it was very nice to see Carly Pace make this list. I thought she was kind of slighted last year when it came to the OVC postseason awards and not getting on the first or second team. Good to see her there.
Yeah, I mean, Carly Pace, she came in as a freshman, and her and Taylor Steele together had to play as freshmen so many minutes because Grace Lennox was hurt and other players for Eastern were hurt a couple of seasons ago. And, Carly Pace, 14 points a game essentially on 42% from the field. Not bad numbers at all. So,
yeah, definitely. Watching a couple of games last year, I noticed how well Carly just shoots the ball. She seems to shoot the ball really well, able to get open and get open shots.
Well, I did go to a practice earlier, and she's actually been working extra to work on bettering that shot too. So that's something that we can look forward to this year. Not very many surprises on the All-OVC preseason team, and no surprise that a Belmont player is picked for the OVC Player of the Year. They've really dominated the conference in the last few years.
That's one thing that caught my eye is Belmont has 3 girls that are on the all-conference team, and I think that's huge.
And taking a look at the predicted order of finish, of course, nobody was really surprised at the top teams. I mean, Belmont, UT Martin, Tennessee Tech, all 3 of them have fantastic years last year.
Yeah, in regard to Eastern's place, I would say that, if anything, I would say they're at least worthy of 8th or 7th in my preseason poll. I think with, when you look at Carly Pace, you look at Taylor Steele, Abby Wall, who was huge last year toward the end of the season and the later half of the season. I think with them, and some other veterans that they have returning, just looking at them compared to the rest of the OVC, I would say, if I had to guess right now, they'd make the postseason tournament this season.
Okay, once again, Belmont, the pick for the title this year in the OVC, and preseason player of the year, Ellie Harmeyer from Belmont. We're going to send it back down to Evansville, Indiana, where Mike Brad has Eastern Illinois head coach Matt Bollant.
All right, Rob, thanks a lot. Matt Bollant is with us. And, Matt, you're picked 10th. I don't know how important that is to you, how you feel about that. That would be, a spot or so above last year. When last year you made one of the biggest improvements in the country as far as wins over the previous year.
Yeah, we went from 3 to 11 wins, and obviously we're believing we're going to take another big jump. And, so we're going to make that happen, and that's our focus.
The guys, I thought, did a pretty good job wrapping up the people you had back. You've got 4 of your top 5 scorers back, so you've got a really good nucleus to work with there.
We do. We have a lot returning, and we've added some great pieces, so we're definitely going to be better with our depth and better top to bottom. Obviously, Grace Lennox was a big part of our team last year, but Kyra Artover has stepped in at the point guard position and been really good. She's our best defender and was one of our best as a freshman. Now her offensive game has gotten quite a bit better as well, so we believe that we're going to be really solid at point and then better, 2 through 10 at all those positions.
You plan to try to get the ball inside a lot more this year, and Abby Wall we saw come on really strong in the last half of last year. She'd be a big part of that.
Yeah, Abby, we tell our players and tell recruits this as well. She came in and last summer she was probably number 12 or 13 out of the 15 kids in the summer, and now she's gone to, maybe arguably number 2 and certainly our best post player right now, and we expect her to have a great sophomore year. I think she might be the best young post in our league. She can score in the block, she can score outside, she's physical, and she has just gotten so much better, and we expect her to really have a great year and be one of the best post players in the league, even though she's a sophomore.
Then you've got Grace McCrae, Jennifer Nails, who are both kind of, I guess, blue-collar type forwards, I suppose.
Yeah, and those guys have started, most of their years, the last 2 years, so both of them can bring something. And Grace McCrae is recovering from some back issues, but Jen will be on the court and doing great. So both of them can add a physical piece, and certainly our post play is going to be significantly better than it was last year.
Taylor Steele's one of the most experienced players on your team, even though she's just a junior. And then you talked about Carly Pace, and it's good that she made the preseason.
Yeah, I was really thankful this morning when I got a chance to see that, and I think she was an all-conference player last year, but our team record probably kept her from getting that, and this year our team record is going to be better. She's better, and she's playing like one of the top couple players in our conference. The way she's practicing and carrying herself, I expect her to go from 13, 14 points a game to 15 to 20 points a game, and certainly lead us on the offensive end.
Okay, we're talking with Eastern women's basketball coach Matt Bollant, live from OVC Media Day in Evansville. Okay, newcomers. First of all, the first one's not really a newcomer to you. Will be a newcomer to the fans, though. Claudia Stan sat out last year. She's 6'5". I think she's the tallest player in EIU women's history.
Yeah, I think she is. She probably is over that. She's probably near 6'6", so we list her at 6'5", and she's just going to bring a different presence, and she's block shots, and she can score inside, and it was good that she redshirted last year. She needed a year to get stronger and a year to get better, and she certainly has done that, and she affects the game. When she's in on the floor and somebody drives to the basket, she's around the rim, she's going to block that shot, and then she's a good rebounder as well. So unfortunately she had a little bit of an ankle sprain a couple weeks ago and just recovering now from that and getting back into the mix, but and when she's on the court, nobody else is going to have 6'6" on the court, so she'll bring something a little bit different.
Then you have 3 freshmen, and they're all in the mix maybe to play?
Absolutely, yeah. Lariah Washington from Minnesota was a finalist for Miss Basketball, averaged 28 points a game. And then Morgan Littleweiler from Indiana is about as good as any freshman in our league. And, if she can stay healthy, she's going to have a great year. And then Paige Schumann played on the best team in Wisconsin. Many are calling it the best team in Wisconsin history, and was a starting point guard on 3 state championships and played at extremely high level. So all 3 of our freshmen are going to play, and we believe will have an impact.
Okay, you're picked 10th. You need to be in the top 8 to make the league tournament. I don't know what sort of goals you set, but certainly.
Yeah, we want to be playing here. No question about it. We want to be playing Evansville. I think we would have been playing here last year had we been able to stay healthy. 6 of our top 7 had some kind of injury, and that really slowed us. And obviously, you got to stay healthy. But we're deeper this year as well. Just talking to a dad and AAU coach on the way here. Last year we were 6-7 deep, and this year we believe we'll be 9 or 10 deep, and that'll make a huge difference. Every team's going to go through injuries. We just weren't at a place in our program last year to sustain it.
Okay, looking ahead, next week, you've got Illinois Wesleyan, I think on Friday night next week, right? A week from Friday, for an exhibition game. People that come out that night will probably get to see a lot of your roster?
Yeah, they will. And, they're a good team. Last year we played well, and I think we beat them by 7. And they've gone to Division I programs, beat them. So they're a good program, have a lot of confidence coming in, and that'll be a great test for us. And then we get started on the 5th. But in that game, you'll see Claudia hopefully playing and with her ankle getting better, and you'll see our freshmen. And so we're excited to get started. I know our players, we've been practicing since September 24th, so it's a long time to go against playing. We got a close scrimmage on Sunday, so they're excited to play against somebody else.
First 3 games, regular season, all at home, so you've got a chance to get off to a good start there.
Yeah, we got a good Lindenwood team. They have a post player that would probably be on the preseason all team if she was playing in the OVC, so they have a really good post player, 6'3", that can really score, so it'll be a good test early, and we're going to have to work hard defensively to guard her. And then we've got a couple of home games to get off the season. Hopefully we'll get off to a great start, and hopefully our fans will come out and support us as well, because they're going to see a really exciting product on the floor.
All right. Matt, we're going to let you go here. Congratulations on the good work so far. We'll look forward to, first of all, the exhibition game Friday night, November 1, right, against Illinois Wesleyan, and then the home game starting Tuesday the 5th.
Yeah, it's exciting to get started, and November is going to be a fun month for us and a lot going on, and I can't wait to get started.
All right. Thank you very much for
doing
this.
Mike. Appreciate
Good luck.
you.
Good to have you. That's Matt Bollant, Eastern Illinois head women's basketball coach. Coming up in the second half of our show, we're going to talk with a couple of Mats players, Taylor Steele and Carly Pace. Also, a couple of the EIU men's players, Josiah Wallace and Max Smith will be on. And plus, we'll hear more from Rob and Dylan and Kobe back at the studio. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, Rob will have interviews with Taylor Steele and Carly Pace from the EIU women's team. So back with that in just a moment. Stay tuned.